Now, because I completed the game, it does this piano music at the beginning. Like wait just a bit longer. Okay. And this is what normally plays. Which is much better. What they're trying to convey there.
Why am I still alive? The baby.
Recreation of possibly the most famous duel in all of Metroid. So sad. I heard Space Warrior in that jingle. I didn't even realize it.
Mother, time to go.
Except the Hyper Beam ain't rainbow, but I forgive you.
Okay, Samus. Everything's normal.
I awoke to the familiar voice of a quarantine officer.
Let's try sitting up, huh? Slowly now.
A dream. I had been reliving the tragic moments of my recent past. Thanks to the hyper beam, which was given to me somehow by the baby, I laid Mother Brain to waste. And the explosion that followed destroyed Planet Zebes, along with the remains of Mother Brain, the space pirates, and my long-standing nemesis, Ridley, and the baby.
Come on, Samus. Let's go next door.
I'm curious why they decided to give her a mole on her chin, but whatever. I think the Smash renditions of Zero Suit Samus after Other M kept that.
Ready for a quick test, Samus? Let's start with a little warning. Try a charge beam for me. Sharp-looking charge beam, just the way I
suppose.
Like. Okay, morph ball next. Go ahead and drop some bombs. Okay, get out of morph ball mode and return to normal. Perfect, Samus. Alright, stand in the middle of the room.
Imagine she has to do this like every single time she comes back from a mission. It's like, that'd be so preposterous.
From there, kick climb to work your way up. Just like that, Samus. Let's invite some of your pals.
I mean, I can kind of appreciate, I kind of appreciate that they take the time to create this tutorial level just because of how different the gameplay is in this, like, compared to other Metroid games.
Okay, looking good.
So I suppose it was kind of necessary. I just feel it could have been done a bit better.
Dodging. Okay, those are the moves I remember.
And also this guy's commentary is a little strange.
Nice. Remember how that feels. Next, how about a missile test? Use concentration to replenish your missile supply. One of your pesky buddies is lurking here somewhere. Find it for me, huh? Why not say hello with a missile? Looks like you ticked him off. The rest is all you. Okay, looking good. So you plan to just sit there when something grabs you?
On the one hand, I do kind of like the...
Samus, now's your chance.
On the one hand, I do kind of like how there's, how I turned off subtitles and I forgot about
How
that.
about you try using a power bomb? This area is well fortified. Don't hold
On the
back.
other hand, for recording purposes, having subtitles
Allow
does
that
kind of
to
help
around using
knowing
power
what's
bomb.
going on.
All right, Samus. That's it for the test. like you took quite a bit of damage. It's unbelievable how well you've held up.
I wondered if this too was a result of the power the baby gave me.
Right. You're due in the meeting room. The big dogs are waiting. I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
Not even a fragment. None of the baby remained on me. I knew it to be true, but still couldn't help looking at my palm for a sign. Never again would I encounter the baby.
The power the baby gave me.
Never. The finality of it
Which
struck me once
fully
again.
manifests itself in dread. Of course, she doesn't have its DNA yet, but it's still from the infant Metroid.
And all Metroids were exterminated. A simple report, almost dull even, but it felt momentous to me.
Except it wasn't really established that that was her mission in Super Metroid, is the thing.
I don't know how much time passed since then.
Like in Super Metroid, it's
Days went by
kind
in
of
their
just
quiet way.
her doing her own thing.
People's recollections of Metroids and space pirates grew nebulous over time, relegated to a past concern of the galactic communities. Nothing more than a faded memory. Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention. The signal was coming from a remote part of
Gee,
space.
don't say.
I altered the course of my ship as if this detour had already been part of my flight plan.
Probably the worst writing in this game is like in that part right there.
It was as though it was crying specifically for me.
This game also started the... Well, there's a lot of things this game started. But one of them was the design within Samus's ship of how she navigates, or like how it actually works. Which you see carries over in Samus Returns and in Metroid Dread. Like, it works. The only other... Like, you see a glimpse of how the ship she has in Hunters and the first Prime works. But not a whole lot. And then the Prime 3 one works differently as well, but yeah. This is one of those instances where you can't get out of first-person mode without looking at something.
Galactic Federation, huh?
Yeah, they're here. Anyway, I'd say it's high time for my intro, huh? Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Dragotix here. Welcome to a brand new series on the channel Metroid Other M. Possibly the most hated Metroid game in the series. However, I will state emphatically that I am within the minority of those that actually loves this game. Nonetheless, it is, as aforementioned, basically what I like to call the last Jedi of the Metroid franchise. AKA Star Wars 8 of the Metroid franchise.
Ah, fancy meeting you here, princess. Remember me?
Anthony. There's only one person who calls me princess. And that person is Anthony Higgs of the Galactic Federation Army.
Haven't seen you since that last mission. Hey, and your buddy's here too.
Adam Malkovich, a general in the Galactic Federation Army. Not only a trusted confidant, but also my former superior officer. Yes, there was a time when I was enrolled in the Galactic Federation Army. And then I was young and inexperienced. As the result of a certain incident, I left Adam's command and set out on my path as a solitary bounty hunter.
And there's Adam in the flesh.
What are you doing here?
Later,
The first words out of
his
his mouth were typical coming from
computerized reincarnation
To answer his
in
question,
Fusion
I
and
recounted
Dread.
the details of what had brought me to this place, and then I asked what circumstances led the Federation here.
That information is not for an outsider.
The word he so obviously chose, outsider, pierced my heart.
Commander, we're all prepped.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to actually mock it that much, but... What are you telling her to crouch for? She's like...
No dice. I think our only option is to use the laser to slowly burn our way through. This is gonna take a while.
The electrical system here is out, and we can't get the barrier wall to open. We tried using explosives, but it's tricky to pull off without collateral damage. What we need is some way to focus the power onto one centralized location.
Gee, I wonder what I'm supposed to be doing. He's like, yeah, that sounds alright.
Let's go.
Lyle, I think you take your job a little too
Alright.
seriously.
I'm gonna go on ahead.
It's like this,
Adam hadn't authorized it, but I decided to remain on site for the sake of the others.
okay. Like I said, this game, like, started a whole lot of things. Some good, some bad. One thing it started that was not good, I'd say. Well, I don't know. At least not really great in this case. as this disconnect between the player and Samus as a character. Like, is that Samus has decided she's not going to use certain items until Adam authorizes it. It's like, the heck? But yeah, I intend... Adam is not yet. Yeah. Like I said when I discussed it in my Prime 3 walkthrough, I intend to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of this game wherever it shows up. Like the actual combat and whatnot, for instance, like since I've only been talking about things that I find stupid so far. Like the combat and like gameplay itself and like the third dimensional aspects of this game, but from a third person point of view, is awesome, and it's what makes Other M like unique and a lot of fun. Now, the authorization mechanic to a certain extent does make sense, I will give it that. However, it, like, to a certain extent, it makes sense because, you know, the Federation is here to find survivors. And, you know, if Samus is just using her weapons of mass destruction just willy-nilly, she could really hurt somebody nearby. So, in that sense, your abilities being limited based on authorization and whatnot makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the timing of it in the game, sometimes, or at times, and also, like, just because you can't use it at one point, and then you can use it at another point, why can you use it from then on out? Why is it unauthorized later? Also, this is the only example of restrooms in a Metroid game. And I'm going in the ladies, because I'm a lady. Is that a purple bug? I think that was like teasing later on. Got some hand sinks. Yes, yes, very nice, very nice. Also, you can clearly see, like, from over here, there's not enough blockage, I think. You know what? I'm just not going to discuss that, you know? I don't know why they changed the name of wall jumping to kick climbing. Maybe because the mechanic is technically different. Like, you're not, like, bouncing back and forth in like somersault mode. You're instead actually using your feet. So, you know, in that sense it does make sense to change the name, but, you know, it just seems unnecessary. I guess that would be an example of the ugly. As I say, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, I intend to discuss in this game. Like, it's not really bad, it's just why, you know. Speaking of the good, the bad, and the ugly, I actually just recently watched that movie for the first time, like, some months ago. That, and of course, A Few Dollars More, or A Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More. I keep saying A Few Dollars More before A Fistful of Dollars, which is like chronologically right before A Few Dollars More. It's funny how that works. Also, there's just something about Samus's running looks a bit odd. Oh, wait, here's the... I don't know, looks a bit awkward. Hello? Oh, right. I have to restore power before I can use that. Also, whenever you see a door that looks like this, that means it's a navigation booth. Now, how health works, how health and ammo work in this game is, again, unique to this game. Like, normally you can kill something and then extract its energy or ammo. Uh-oh. But in this, you can only restore a certain amount at will.
He's dead.
If you're down to a certain amount of health.
Someone or something attacked him.
Get away from me!
It was obvious that
Yeah,
there was
Lyle,
some
you just need to
pervasive
chill.
danger throughout the facility. I didn't know what had brought Adam here, but I did know that cooperation was imperative if we were to restore safety.
Adam, listen to me.
I guess something else that's
This
bad is
facility
like
is
her,
in complete
how
disorder.
she's standing.
It might be too
It's like-
dangerous for your men to go alone.
Just kind of.
That's why I've...
They're coming out of the wall!
Take off.
This is a pretty creative monster, though. It's like a monster created by a huge matrix of tiny bugs.
This ain't good! Nothing's working! Listen up! Freeze guns authorized! Samus, I'm authorizing missile use!
Oh, that's why I wasn't firing missiles. I forgot. Shoot.
fire in a single location and freeze that thing. And Samus, you attack the frozen spot.
Oh, right. I thought I was supposed to fire at the base of the darn thing. Oh. What was going on there? Whoa, oh, right. It's a giant eyeball. It's like giant eyeball beetle.
Samus, looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission, but I'm also gonna have to ask that you follow my commands. You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so. Any objections, lady?
The thumbs up sign had been used by the Galactic Federation for ages. Me? I was known for giving the thumbs down during briefing. I had my reasons, though. Commander Adam Malkovich was normally cool and not one to joke around. But he would end all of his mission briefings by saying, "Any objections, lady?" He was joking, but others weren't. At the time, I felt surrounded by people who treated me like a child, or used kid gloves because I was a woman. And yet with Adam, I was grateful for the nod. My past has left me with an uneasy soul, and as a result, it touched me on some level that Adam would acknowledge that past by calling me something delicate, like lady. And I knew more than anyone that every word from Adam was deliberate. My thumbs down was a twofold response. A sign of derision at being called a lady, and a signal of my complete understanding of the mission orders. The other soldiers were always willing to support me with easy smiles despite the fact that I clearly had so much yet to learn. Among them was Anthony. In the face of his well-meaning behavior and that of the other soldiers, my response was to become increasingly bitter. I was a child, always with something to prove, a chip on my shoulder. And I was angry. I felt that if I let my guard down, I would easily be broken. And beyond that, I was scared. Even in the naivete of my youth, actually, I could see in Adam's joking manner how close he felt to me. Adam knows my past, and he knows me better than anyone else. Confession time. Because I was so young when I lost both of my parents, there's no question I saw Adam as a father figure. When I rebelled against him, I knew I could get away with it. And his paternal compassion in the face of my rebellion reinforced the special bond I felt with him. I understood well that chances were slim that I would ever find anyone that understood me like Adam. And yet, when the time came, I still left his side. I was so young. Young and naive.
Exactly what transpired here on the bottle ship is still uncertain. Here's what we do know.
Wow, she looks
The
really
equipment we thought had
depressed.
been destroyed is operational again. And we've seen casualties attributed to an unidentified and lethal creature. The situation is critical. We need to gather all the information we can, but priority one is to find any survivors and bring them to safety. Consider this site extremely dangerous. Be careful as you make your sweeps. And there's one problem. The wireless interference in this facility is all-pervasive. Your comm systems are useless. As a result, communication channels will be limited to the facility's navigation booths. Well then, Lyle, investigate Sector 1 and show a little restraint with the explosives.
Gotcha.
Maurice, you cover Sector 2. Repair any equipment you come across.
Affirmative.
Anthony, you're Sector 3. I'll leave it to you to decide whether plasma guns are called for.
All right.
James, check out the control bridge. Our communication issues might be the result of electrical interference.
Yes, sir.
And KG, run a complete sweep of the residential quarters and investigate any trace of survivors.
Got it.
Each of you is authorized to use a freeze gun. Do not forget to check in regularly via navigation booths. And Samus, you go to the system management room. Do everything you can to get the electrical system back up and running. Looks like your comm system is still functional. Remember, everything you see will also appear on this screen. Regarding auxiliary weapons, the use of bombs has been authorized. As far as your other weapons go, we will continue to investigate and authorize use as we can. However, we currently have no plans to authorize the use of power bombs. As you know, they have the ability to spread a high-temperature heat wave over a large area, impacting living things, which is a nice way of saying they can vaporize humans instantly. You should be well aware of how dangerous power bombs are, and how their devastation can't be obstructed with common materials. Once the mission in the system management room is complete, I need you to report back. I'll give you your next orders then. I want you all to be especially careful as you execute your missions. That's the end of the briefing.
It was the first joint mission I'd been a part of since becoming a freelance bounty hunter. And of course, it was the first
Well,
time
there was
since my
also
Federation
Prime
days that I
3,
was
but-
following the orders of a commanding officer. Having received mission orders from Adam, I felt confused and strangely exhilarated at the unexpected turn of events. I responded.
Understood, Adam. No objections, of course.
The drama. I think I really do need to turn on subtitles though, because it's like I'm not always just gonna be quiet during cutscenes. And if I'm talking, well then you're not really gonna hear what people are saying that well, so which, if I'm perfectly honest, isn't that important. Not all the time, anyway.
Data recording. Restoration sequence activated. Sequence complete. Process successful.
Wait, it just came from here. Okay. It kind of seems that... Oh, right, I'm supposed to go up here. Like, there is kind of this back and forth between, like, or among, like, moments in Metroid where the Prime games were declared non-canon and then canon again. And like the moment where they were declared canon again was in Samus Returns with the addition of Proteus Ridley, because Proteus Ridley at the end like looks very much like Omega Ridley, except without like phase on and such. And then seeing that this game was made before Samus Returns. It's these two-legged monstrosities, which you see plenty of in like Fusion. It's also just really cool, like seeing like a lot of these 2D monsters you see in the, or these monsters you see in all the 2D Metroid games making a 3D debut in this game, which is like one of the things I really love about this game. Anyway, as I was saying, seeing that this game was made before Samus Returns, though, it seems that it was like at this time, the Prime games were still considered like legend and not canon. Oh, right. Now the fact that you can use concentration to just refill your missile ammo virtually instantaneously, it doesn't make them useless. The expansion is useless, I don't think. It just makes, like, you know, like you just don't need to go collect the expansions nearly as or you don't need a refill. Boy, I can't talk. It just prolongs the time, or lengthens the time before you need to refill ammo. Which you know, all missile expansions and all Metroid games do that. It's just this one does it in a slightly different fashion. Because you are the ammo recharge station in this game. So let's go in first person point of view.
Data recording. Restoration sequence activated. Sequence complete. Process.
I had turned up the TV a bit so I could hear what was going on better.
Samus, go through the hatch on your right and head towards Sector 1.
But I realized
Lyle
because
went ahead to secure a route to a facility of
the
interest.
audio input,
I'll leave you to survey Sector 1.
because the external audio input is like has a slight delay compared to the internal audio. There was a slight echo in the recording, so main sector, sector 1, sector 2, sector 3, control bridge. Now, what's interesting about the bottle ship, like the name of the bottle ship, it's also neat in this game, like first person point of view, it will tell you what you need to break through something. What was I just saying? Oh yeah, the name of the bottle ship. It's cool, I think, but it still sounds stupid. Like, it sounds stupid because, like, the bottle ship, okay? Whatever. That doesn't sound cool at all. But I think it is cool because it's like the old distress signal. Excuse me. Via putting a message in a bottle and just letting it float about in the sea. And of course, the reason for coming here is a distress signal. And so, you know, I think that's pretty cool. Though, at the same time, I will also admit that the sound of it is still kind of dumb. But, you know. Also, why can't I bounce on your head? Oh, ouch. Oh. Also, one of the things this game started, this is definitely in the good category, and people will not want to admit it because of their hatred of this game. But one of the things that this game pioneered was the melee aspects of combat. And also just some of the, like, things like Lethal Strike and, overblast or overload or whatever it's called. Real quick though, side note, this is kind of trippy because the first few times when I was looking at this thing, I was picturing it as being more rectangular, and so when it was going around and there were like there kept being more sides, I'm like, wait, what? And then it's like, oh right, it's a hexagon, it's not a rectangle. But yeah, this game started like things like melee attacks and like the badass finisher moves.
Please avoid traveling alone and remain armed. Stay alert to your surroundings at all times.
And if you listen closely, you can hear that exact same message on the intercom in this area. But yeah, things like the melee stuff and like the finishers and whatnot, that all started in this game. Now the melee counter didn't appear until Samus Returns. So, you know, that's where that comes from. I realized something I forgot to finish talking about earlier was how it seems like they were again declaring that, or they were establishing that the Prime games were not canon. By Samus saying it was the first joint mission with the Federation since being a freelance bounty hunter. Or since becoming a freelance bounty hunter. And, you know, given that this game was made before Samus Returns, that makes sense. Like, this game was, like, from 2010, I believe. So this game's 11 years old. It's also rather interesting. You can't fire missiles unless you go in first-person mode. That's how that works. Also, got a giant Venus flytrap monstrosity. But then it kind of seems like this one trailer for Metroid Dread seemed to once again establish that the Prime games are not canon. Ah, yes, the crazy cloaking lemur lizards. Except you can still see them, or you can lock onto them Gotti. Something else I really do like about this game. Okay, wait, I need to finish my thought. I am such a scatterbrained fellow. But it was like in this one trailer, like the now available trailer they released for Metroid Dread. Before it mentions like, you know, for every hunter there is a final hunt or something like that. It talks about like Samus's journeys and whatnot, and like her missions that she's been on. And there's a part where it shows the shuttle loading sequence, but and it's showing images from other Metroid games and going through those, like talking about the various missions and whatnot. However, the only images it's showing are from the 2D Metroid games. Sorry about that. Looks like that bug bugged me. Ha ha ha. What was I saying? Oh, shoot. Missiles are empty. But it was kind of like that trailer was once again establishing that the Prime games are not canon. But I'm probably reading too much into that, because then again, it didn't show anything from Other M. It just showed things from the 2D Metroid games, which are, of course, Metroids 1 through 4, and of course Dread is Metroid 5. So, you know, and it's like, well, it's like, of course, like, the main story of the series is Samus's conflict with Metroids. And that is seen especially, if not focused on, in the mainline Metroid games like Zero Mission, Samus Returns, Super Metroid, and Fusion, which I think is what it was trying to convey in the Dread trailer. It's because it only showed those four because Metroids 1 through 4 are about Samus versus the Metroids. Like, it didn't show the Prime games because, well, Samus, like, the Metroids are kind of a side character in those games. Ooh. We get Arachnus's 3D debut, which is awesome. You know, Arachnus, that's Molly dude from Fusion. Except you're fighting 3 of them. I also just really love the sense move mechanic. Like I talked about in Metroid Dread, how I was like, there would be moments where I'm like, this would be a great time to have, like, you know, Samus's sense move mechanic from Other M. Boom. So, you know, that was really my point. Or just, I think I made my point from earlier. Just... yeah, it was only showing scenes from Metroid 1 through 4 because those are the games that talk about Samus's relationship with Metroids. The other games don't, really. The Prime games, the Metroids are more like a side character. It's more about Phazon. And of course, Dark Samus. And this game's not even about Metroids either. Not really. It's... even though... it's because of Metroids that Adam meets his... well, you know, it's because of Metroids that a certain event happens in this game. I won't disclose it for people who don't know. So they are very important to what goes on in this story, in this game. However, they're not the main plot of the game. Even though, like, you know, kind of the actual name of this game is Metroid Project M. Like, even the end credits says so. Like, when the end credits come up, instead of saying Metroid Other M, it says Metroid Project M. Which is annoying that it's just inconsistent, but... and also, the name Project M just is a better name. Like, Other M, what the heck? What kind of a name is that? It makes no sense. No, I have heard that it's, like, supposed to be, like, a subtle reference to the word mother, since that is a theme in this game. But in my opinion, well then, just call it Mother. Just call it Metroid Mother. Like, that would have been better than Other M. Like, Other M doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that's... among the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's definitely the bad. But...
the large cage-like booth looked like something had been raised in it. And in one corner was the miserable form of a researcher's corpse. This victim hadn't sustained the same injuries. The dead I'd seen had been torn apart by something large. This one had been attacked by a different type of creature. And as I studied the violence this creature had wrought, I felt something in the air, the presence of a dark intelligence.
Dun dun dun. Then it locks for like no reason. Something I really love about this game, though, is like, if you just take the cutscenes away, and like Samus talking, like, it's really awesome. Like, can you imagine just going, can you imagine just playing this game and like you have no idea what's going on? And so you're basically just trying to figure out what's going on. Excuse me. And yeah, that'd be neat. You're just going around, the silent, badass fighter. Hello. Hello there.
Samus, proceed through the hatch I just unlocked. Your next destination is a little further ahead.
Something rather unsettling about that. I think one, real, I mean, like, obviously, like, Team Ninja were, like, the developers of this game. And, like, I imagine, like, the writing was originally Japanese, at least that would be my guess. Because, like, the writing, I think would have made more sense in Japanese. Not that I speak Japanese, I don't speak Japanese at all. But it's just, there's so much in, like, the monologues and whatnot that's, like, it doesn't follow stuff like show, don't tell, etc. Ooh, invisible wall, eh? Ah, here we go. So I think, like, the bad writing in this game is, like, not necessarily the fault of bad writers. It may just be like a semi-mistranslation. Like it makes more sense in like Japanese or whatever. You know, it is a theory out of wanting to give this game the benefit of a doubt, I will freely admit. But, you know how anime is. It's not full of the best writing and whatnot. It's fun, but it's not, but it's like not the best writing or acting, and it's very melodramatic. Not all anime, but a lot of it, and which is why I generally don't watch it. Now, I discovered some time ago that my older brother Bob actually... Oh, that incapacitates you guys. So that's like anti-pest stuff or whatever. I discovered my older brother actually watches anime, like, a lot, and I'm like, really? That really surprises me, actually. Like, some of the things he's into these days, like, genuinely surprises me. I'm just like, who are you? Oh, I can't see my own reflection. I do like how a blast from the charge beam makes you go backwards. And like something I was talking about earlier, I just like how without the cutscenes and the melodrama, and even though like the story itself is not terrible, it's just how it's executed is problematic. But like the actual gameplay itself is so much fun. Not just the combat, but the environments. And like how I was saying, the creatures, like seeing 2D creatures that seeing creatures that you fought in 2D games making their 3D debut in this game. And then just the environments themselves just are really cool, really visceral. And the music itself is also very atmospheric. Like, I will freely admit, some of the music in this game is not that impressive, or seems very inappropriate. Particularly this one track. Where you're in this one control area or whatever. And it has this weird jingly tune. Also, that is a very strange creature. It has what seems to be a fairly normal body at first looking, like it seems rather bird-like. But then it turns itself around and actually that huge butt is actually another mouth. Or rather, its real mouth. So probably the other side is just like its like it's intended to draw predators or something, because it like looks like a harmless animal somewhat. And then it turns itself around and opens its giant maw, and that's its real. It's a lure. It's kind of like this one fish, the monk fish, which is a flatter sort of fish, but it has this little antenna with this little bit of flesh or whatever, which when it flicks it around, it looks like a fish swimming about. And so it uses that as a lure to draw somebody in or something in, and then it'll open up and eat it. My mouth is very dry.
Process successful.
Oh, hello. It's the Groganches or whatever. The like mix of Ents and emus or ostriches or dinosaurs. Jurassic tree monsters. Pretty cool. Oh, another restroom. I remember for the longest time I was like standing there, like standing around there, and I could not get this door open. And I'm just like, I can save the universe, but I can't open this darn door. You better watch out, Samus. You better hope something like the Omega Cannon or whatever isn't locked behind a slightly opened bathroom stall. Otherwise, you're in serious trouble. Oh yeah, buddy boy? Say goodbye. And yes, if you are hanging about here and you blast it, you will kill yourself. I know this because I did that the very first time, and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't think that through. Like, one of the things, and like, this is another example of the good in this game. Like, I talked about how this music is very atmospheric and just the areas and the environment is very visceral. Well, of course, something that Metroid is known for is this feeling of isolation and, you know, loneliness. And this game does that very well. Like, even though, you know, there are like Federation Marines aboard this bottle ship, this game makes you forget that, because, like, you know, just the areas and whatnot. I do need to find a good stopping point. So, the only Metroid game I think where, like, Samus is actually groaning or like making like cries of pain while in morph ball mode, which seems to disprove this one idea I had. Uh-oh, crap. Closest I've come to dying in this game. For the first time, anyway. But the fact that you can still hear Samus, like, crying in pain when she gets hit in morph ball mode seems to disprove a theory or an idea I had, which was that when going into morph ball mode, Samus is kind of in fear, like sort of converted into energy. And what seems to reinforce that idea is how you can, at least in like the Prime games, you can like see through that energy. Like you can see through the space between the two halves, the two hemispheres. Now, is this where there's that jump scare? No, I guess that comes later. Oh, it's in this room. Also Also, some of these like alien creature designs in this game are pretty cool. Oh, by the way, you can charge up the power bomb, but you can never charge it up all the way to deploy it. Not yet, anyway. You can only deploy it all the way in the post-credit gameplay. This is also the only Metroid game where that's a thing. There's gameplay after, or there's gameplay after the credits. I do also like how this game was like the first to like really actively use Chozo characters. And I believe it's because of this game that Chozo actually the Chozo letters actually mean something. Aha! Like it started here. That may have changed, like when Dread came around or something. I mean, especially since in Metroid Dread, there's the Chozo characters are no longer rectangular; they're triangular instead. Which I think is pretty cool because, like, it actually I've actually invented alphabets that were both rectangular based and triangular based, and so it was rather cool. It's like one of those things that made me feel like I was involved in the game, even though I actually involved in making the game, even though I definitely wasn't. It's like what I was saying about like how I was kind of freaking out because a lot of the stuff it was kind of like I had predicted a lot of what happened in Dread because of like a lot of what happened in Dread paralleled a fanfiction I did for a story after Fusion. Now, of course, it wasn't supposed to be like a direct sequel to Fusion. It was supposed to be like the finale for Metroid, which, you know, in theory is what Dread is. Like, that does seem to be what is the case. All that is really known, though, is that it's the conclusion of the Metroid story. Is it the conclusion of Samus's adventures, though? That remains to be seen. But yeah, even though I had to let go of my fanfiction ideas because it was all based on this one particular misunderstanding of the Omega canon in Prime Hunters, which is that I had thought that the Omega canon was the so-called ultimate power, until this one fellow pointed out that no, that's actually not the case. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, yeah, this one guy in an interview was like, yeah, it was a ruse. And it basically also confirmed the suspicion I had about the game, which was that the telepathic message, because it says, like, author unknown, it was, like, basically, like, a suspicion I had, which was that it was Gorea all along sending that message to basically get somebody to try and free it. But yeah, because the Omega Cannon was not the ultimate power, my great idea just fell apart. That being said, there were still aspects of Metroid Dread that paralleled my fanfiction, so it was kind of like my idea happened after. Oh yeah, something I ought to bring up. The diffusion beam, something that is found in Metroid Dread. It first appears in this game. Like, this is the first game to use the diffusion beam.
Data recording. Restoration sequence activated. Sequence complete. Process successful.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and fight these giant snake monstrosities. And then I'll call it a night. Because at present it is nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. So I probably ought to go to bed soon. These guys are probably gonna kill me. Yeah, something else, you notice how earlier when I was really low on health, I was able to use concentration to reload that? Another pickup in this game that's pretty cool is like, I forget what it's called, but it basically increases how much you can replenish at a time. Like at the moment, I can only replenish my base energy. But I think you can collect up to 4 of those upgrades, or 4 of those pickups. No! I died. I actually died. Crap. And my head's through the wall. Dang it, I was so close. Well, I was right. These guys are probably going to kill me because I usually have a problem with them. Certainly not as hard as they were the first time I had to deal with them. Because I defeated these guys in hard mode. And believe me, these guys are hard in hard mode. Which part of what makes them hard in hard mode is that there are no expansions. And I've mentioned that before in like my Prime 3 walkthrough, I believe. What? I thought I... Where are you? Yeah, to finish my thought earlier, though, you can collect up to 4 of the pickups that allow you to, that allow you to restore, to replenish your own health. And so you can not only replenish your base energy, but you can also replenish 4 energy tanks you collect as well. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. So, thank you all so much for watching. As always, God bless, and I hope to see y'all next time. Ciao.